We live in a time where masculinity is shamed, and men don't know what it means to be a man. As a pastor and counselor, I've spent the better part of my life equipping and training others. My goal with this show is to translate my hard-earned experience into tools and tactics to help you become stronger as a man. This is the BraveCo podcast. I'm your host, Jason Bellet. Welcome back, men, to the BraveCo podcast. We are in the middle of our addiction series. And last week, Aaron and I talked. Aaron, thank you so much for coming back.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about how addiction's created. We went into talking a decent amount about how addiction is the solution, right? Pornography is the solution to the pain and the solution to what's going on in your life. We wanted to come back and do a part 2 of this conversation. And the reason why is I want to go deeper into the cycle, understanding the cycle of addiction, understanding your brain and how what the addictive brain actually looks like, and then talk a bit more about the way out. So I really think in this podcast, we're going to do a great job at really like helping you to understand that piece, because I feel like a lot of men don't. So Aaron, thanks again for coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited about this conversation.
Yeah, me too.
Addiction's an absolute beast.
Mm-hmm.
So many men are stuck in it. Almost every man that I know of has at least at some time in his life,
right,
tangled on some level with addiction, whether it's overeating and they're now in the process of working out a lot, or watching what they eat, or they struggle with pornography or drinking. Masturbation's a big one for a lot of guys.
Yeah.
And I think as I talked about in the intro, one of the most powerful place to be is to really begin to understand what's going on inside.
Yeah.
And we hit like part 1 of that in the beginning of, okay, my addiction's not the problem.
Right.
I can go and set up a whole bunch of safeguards to not look at porn or not get alcohol in the house, or, things like that, which obviously I think is smart.
It's a necessary piece.
Like level 1, that's amazing.
Yeah.
If you stop at that level, then you're in your own hell.
Yeah. It's not what we would call freedom.
No.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys live there forever, which to me, there's no shame in that. I'm not like shaming a guy, but there are levels to this.
Yeah.
And the next level, I think, really is to begin to understand what's going on in your brain, right? Because in a sense, we shame ourselves a lot. We experience a lot of shame. I see a lot of men in the church world. They get saved, and the expectation is, now that I'm saved, or now that I've confessed this, like, I just need to willpower my way into not doing this anymore. And they don't even understand, like, why am I struggling so much? What's happening in my brain? We don't really think about that. We just think it's like this choice that I make.
It's just pure and simple choice. The same choice for everybody is what it feels like.
Yeah, it really does. And so, maybe take us through a bit more about like what happens inside of the brain when we create an addiction, and why is it so freaking hard to just stop that?
Yeah. I mean, well, you have billions and billions of neurons in your brain, and the different connections they make are just, it's an astronomical number. How those get formed is the product of 2 things: genes and your experiences.
Okay.
And so, which tells us that your experiences, especially growing up, and then obviously into adulthood, but especially growing up in the super formative years, when your brain is undergoing some of the most transformation that it's ever going to go through, you begin to code different things. So all those neurons that are firing together begin to wire together, as you've heard that saying before. And even if it doesn't start at a young age, just the way that you learn to regulate your emotions, the way that you learn to know what's happening inside of you, the way that you learn to relate to other people, all that gets wired. Now, the beautiful thing about the brain is that all that can change. All that can be, it's called neuroplasticity. So your brain can be molded even after it's been wired
Yeah.
together. So then when you fast forward to you get a stimulus of some sort like porn that has an effect on the brain that is similar to cocaine, in that it
So not a big deal.
so yeah, it's just like
It's only like
people
cocaine.
think it's a simple little thing that you see, that happens to everyone. Well, man, I don't know many, 7-year-olds taking a hit of cocaine,
No, it's true.
but it essentially their brain is experiencing that same
Dude,
thing.
when you put it in those terms, right? Like, for a child to be watching pornography or even video games on a like
Right.
to that that addiction is so powerful.
Mhm.
You would never expect a 7-year-old or 8-year-old if they were doing cocaine to like all of a sudden
To go, you know what? I know cocaine's bad. I'm just gonna go
just
I'm just gonna go ahead and stop. We could
yeah,
see any adults, who are addicted.
yeah,
We know that that's not the case.
yeah, it's true.
So what's happening with that's called a supernormal stimulus. Porn is a version of a supernormal stimulus in that what it does to the brain is it spikes dopamine among another, mixture of cocktails, but when you view it, it spikes the dopamine to an abnormal level. I would say if this is baseline, this is like, I feel fulfilled. Like, man, I just, crushed this thing I was going after, whatever. It goes like way past that, which is what we would call the high. So you get this rush of adrenaline, dopamine, all these different chemicals flood through your body when that happens. And dopamine is the, hey, that felt good, do it again thing. And
Yeah,
so even at 7, when I see the first printed like pornography, and I'm a little bit disgusted, a little confused, but also there's something happening inside of me that feels good. And even when it's mixed with shame and guilt,
yeah,
there's still the feels good part.
absolutely.
So, naturally,
Which is like a massive reward, right? Like,
yeah,
oh
that's
my
it.
gosh, I got this like out of body unrealistic reward
Yeah, for 0 effort.
for no effort.
Oh,
Yeah.
I remember going on the hunt in so many ways. It did take a lot of effort so that I almost began to pair it with hard work,
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
But in reality, there is nothing other than a man-made drugs or even, some grown things that you mix with man-made ways that spike you up to that level. So that's why it's called a supernormal stimulus. It
I
is
just
not normal.
I just want to slow it down for guys just a tiny bit
Yeah.
because and just get you to really understand what's happening. Like when you eat a piece of meat, you get a release of dopamine from
hmm
that. You get a reward out of it.
Yeah.
When you build a wall, like you actually get this release, this reward that
hmm
says like, "Hey, good job. Go do
Yeah.
that again."
Right.
When you when you eat calories, any kind of calories, you
hmm
get a reward, right?
Yeah.
And so, as we've been starting to realize, like pornography gives you an unnatural amount of dopamine, all the stimuli
Yeah.
to where you're going so far above normal,
hmm
like cocaine does, or saturated food,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so artificial food.
Like a Big Mac from McDonald's it
Yeah,
would give you a maybe not the same
unrealistic.
level as porn, but
An
still
unrealistic,
right.
like reward,
Yes.
and so that's ultimately what's happening is imagine if if you're supposed to have I mean, think about what the average man ate 100 years ago.
Mhm.
You're eating just really plain pork, you're eating really plain meat, you're eating
Right.
really plain,
Bre
corn,
bread,
bread,
yeah.
like really simple stuff,
Mhm.
like whole ingredients. What's the last whole ingredient that you ate that you're like, "Oh my god," probably a mango.
R
You eat a mango, you eat a pineapple,
yeah.
and on their own, you're like, "Wow, this is a lot."
Right.
And all of a sudden, you now have the ability to eat like food with so many calories in it
Packed into one
to
little
one
thing.
little tiny thing. So
Yeah.
you get a week's worth of or 3 days worth of into one thing. Okay, your body goes your body was wired to go get that again.
Yep.
Get as many calories as you can for survival.
Mhm.
The same thing with pornography, like your best sexual experience
Mhm.
in marriage
Yeah.
will never compare to the thousands and thousands and thousands of experiences that are unrealistic,
Mhm.
that aren't real, that are hyped up. So when you have sex with your wife for the first time, it's like the most incredible, because it's novel,
No,
right? And
yeah.
we'll talk about
Or
that.
yeah.
You'll talk about it a
Mhm.
lot.
Yep.
But ultimately, what I'm trying to get guys to think through is like, you only have sex with your wife for the first time one time.
Mhm.
And it's like this out of body experience.
Mm.
And the next time you have sex with her, it's the second time and the third time and the
Mhm.
fourth time. And pretty soon you know what to expect. And
Yeah.
you can switch things up a little
The
bit. And
novelty wears off, and therefore, some of the same things that shot up real high, it's not gonna go as high.
no, it's not going to go as high. And that's normal and
Mhm.
that's healthy. And
Yep.
but imagine if you slept with a new person every single day, every week.
Mhm.
All of a sudden your brain is going like, "Oh my gosh, this is what life is. This
Right.
is incredible.
Mhm.
And you didn't have to work for it."
Mhm.
So we're talking about like a super stimuli.
Mhm.
That's what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's it. That's it. And so you dump that over and over and over again. And even if you're like, man, I only did it like once every like 3 months or so, it there's that same kind of jolt that goes. It starts carving. You start making connections in the brain. Start carving pathways is one of the ways to look at it. And doing that enough over time, it releases different things in your brain. That is almost like the brain goes, "Hey, we've gone down this path so many times. Let's go ahead and lay some concrete there to make
Yeah.
this like a super highway." There's some chemical, a protein called delta phosphate that plays a part in that and laying that groundwork there. So our goal, once we start to realize what has happened there, is to go, one, I need to break up that concrete. I need to start choosing other things, and I need to recognize that I'm not going to hit that same high that I did before. And I do have guys that ask, because I wondered the same thing.
Mhm.
Okay, if I can't get that high with porn,
Yeah.
tell me what I can do
How
instead.
high can I get?
Yeah, yeah, how high can I get? I'm like, well, unless you plan on taking up recreational drug use, you're not going to hit
It's true.
that
Yeah.
point. So you actually that's why breaking addiction to drugs requires a detox period where your body goes, "Oh no, we're not getting there." Even this is the fulfilled line.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're not getting there. So that even when I get now, like after you've gone through the process of detoxing, the beauty of going through that time where you actually stop using long enough is the testimony here from some guys after not looking at porn for X amount of time is, "Oh my gosh, I just noticed the sunset.
Yeah.
I never even noticed how beautiful it was because I'm starting to hit that fulfilled part." But when it's up here, anything down here just feels like crap.
It does.
Sex with your wife,
Yeah.
you go like, "I've had better on the
Yeah.
screen."
Yeah.
A beautiful sunset, time with friends, good conversation, sitting down reading your Bible, like worship, all these things don't hit that. And so everything inside you goes, not as good.
Yeah.
It's just not as good. That's why we can feel so depressed, and why some guys, and this guy gave a testimony the other day. He's like, "I've gone 2 weeks without looking at porn, and man, I feel so sad. Is that normal?" And I'm like, yes, that's what you want, all
It's
that
true.
stuff, because we have more to talk about
Yeah.
and what's driving that up. But that's a lot of what's happening in the brain as you're viewing.
So part of the science is that you get this numb pleasure response
Mm.
because of the buildup of delta phosphate and just the frequency of, imagine that over and over and over again, you get this hit. And it's like what I saw was in his illustration is the first time like you touch your arm and you're like, oh, that feels good.
Yeah.
And then if you just keep rubbing it, eventually it's like it hurts really bad and eventually goes numb.
Mhm.
And the same touch doesn't feel good anymore.
Yeah.
You need more and you
Mhm.
need more intense.
That's
And
called the Coolidge effect.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so you build up this resistance
Mhm.
to like normal stimuli
Yeah.
and you become really numb. So
Mhm.
you get things like erectile dysfunction. And
Mhm.
that's a lot of what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Is like the world seems really bland. It doesn't
Mhm.
seem, and why I think that's really important to understand is you are going to go through a process. If you are addicted to food, if you're addicted to alcohol, if you're addicted to pornography, inside of your addiction, you're used to the highest level. Imagine that when you play sports, all of us played sports before, that you could put yourself in a stadium of 50,000 every single time.
Yeah,
And
cracking the
and
game-winning home
every
run.
time you hit the home run.
Yep,
Every
yep,
time.
every time.
That is what porn is. That
Uh-huh.
is what a food addiction, that's what alcohol is like, I hit home runs every time, and now I have to go play wiffle ball with my friends.
And strike out a couple times
And you're
too.
like, what is the fun of that?
Yeah, why would I ever?
That is really what you're looking at. I
Mhm,
mean, that is what it feels like to come to leave, to start to leave a porn addiction, is you really do have this mourning process
mhm.
and this rehabilitation process
Yeah,
just for your brain, because your brain goes like, this isn't fun.
mhm.
This is boring. Why are we doing this? I could do something much better.
Yeah,
And then you start thinking something's wrong with you.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you don't understand you, because life feels dull. It feels boring. I don't think I'll ever get back to the place where,
Mhm.
I enjoy normal things again.
Right.
Or how am I going to enjoy sex with my wife when I spent so many years looking at so much unrealistic stuff?
Yeah.
And it creates like, I'm trying to, if you're not careful, men, you'll try to get your wife to give you what that other woman gave you, what is actually impossible.
Mm,
And I'm trying to get something that was never meant to take me that high
mhm.
consistently, and it becomes this really incredible pain point inside of a marriage.
Yeah.
It's like expecting yourself or your wife to be a 5-star Michelin chef.
Right.
And you're like, well, no,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nobody eats at a 5-star Michelin restaurant every single night
Right,
and expects like that's what life should be like.
right, right. Yeah, so then if you can understand that, one, there's some grace. Like, there's some people who take no ownership of this, and for them, we're going, "Hey, get your crap together and
Yeah,
start doing the
100%.
work." But there's a lot of guys, and I certainly have been that guy for the longest time. It was just a shame cycle,
Yeah,
spiraling down every time because my wife is crying. I'm like, if how can I be this awful that
it's true.
her tears they're moving me right now, but I know they won't move me a week from now
Yeah,
because they haven't in the past. Even guys on the brink of divorce, even guys
yeah,
who are on the brink of losing their job as a result of this. And so there's so much shame that can happen when you understand, even coming from the wife's side too, who just like,
yeah,
don't you see this? This hurts. Why don't you just stop? To recognize there's so much more going on here, which requires a different response. Shame can work to produce a different next action, but it can never work to transform the
it's
inner
great.
world.
That's great.
So I think we want to dive into a little
Well,
bit more.
the reason why for me, I'm not going, hey, it's not that big of a deal if you mess up,
Right.
or it's impossible for you to never mess up if you're an addict. That's not actually what I'm saying.
Hmm.
I'm actually saying, if you really understand, if you have the expectation that you should just be able to
Right.
stop without really going, this is what's happening. This is the depth
Hmm.
of ownership I have to take.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the depth of responsibility, and if if we could just shut it off, I mean, everyone would just shut it off. You
Hmm.
would just go like, click.
Yeah.
Now I'm not giving up the thing that I really want for the thing that I don't want.
Right.
If you remember that what addiction really is, I give up the thing that I really want for the thing that I don't really want. Okay, it's not that easy. And when you start to understand the science behind it and what's really happening, then it makes you go back to like, I'm actually am really normal for coming out of an addiction, and the world feels gray.
Hmm.
It's not going to feel gray forever, but
Yeah.
it feels gray for now.
Yeah.
If you understand that you're up against that, and you understand that your brain is wired for, your brain is just screaming for this, give me this really super high stimulus so that we feel better. I need it.
Hmm.
I'm suffering. That's what you're battling. You're
Yeah. That's what
battling
you're
this your body going through withdrawals,
Yep.
essentially.
Hmm.
So you have to take it serious, because if you don't take it serious, then you end up back in a place where you don't want to,
Right.
because you didn't know like, oh, I'm gonna feel possibly crazy. I'm gonna
Hmm.
feel like
Yeah.
I'm I'm if I feel like this forever, I don't want to be like
Right.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to push through that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I want guys. We wanted to to break. Sorry, we wanted to help you guys understand how to actually first understand the cycle
Right.
and then break the cycle. So now you understand what's going on in your brain. Let's talk about what does the cycle really look like?
hmm So Dr. Patrick Carnes, who wrote Out of the Shadows, he's kind of like the godfather of like sex addiction and treating it.
Yeah.
He in his book Out of the Shadows talks about an addictive cycle. It's real simple. He calls it preoccupation up here, acting out, or preoccupation, ritualization, acting out, and despair. And what that means is in the preoccupation phase, you get there because you get triggered and you start thinking about, oh, what if the fantasizing starts happening? And it feels really, there's so much high that happens in that stage right there that you begin to step into what's called the ritualization phase of the addictive cycle. Ritualization is here are the actions I begin to take, not even the acting out itself. I haven't looked at porn yet. I haven't
Yep.
done the thing that I call acting out, but I've begun the process. And each of us have a process that is really repeatable, familiar, that I think I always want guys to be able to write out their ritual so that in the beginning of the ritual, they can go, oh, I'm starting the
Okay.
ritual. Yeah. Because the ritual usually is comprised of a handful of steps. And for everybody, it's going to be different. I mean, for me, one of those ones is I would start to feel the trigger of some sort. And we'll talk about those in a second. But
Yeah.
then I would go, I wonder what's on Netflix right now. I don't
Yeah.
know. I haven't thought about it in a while. So then I go like,
Totally.
let me just scan. And that my process, it always for me began in such a benign way because I knew I didn't want to look at porn. And so I didn't start off trying to look at porn. However, if I could look
There's
back and just
there's
go,
too much shame and just I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
go look
yeah,
at
yeah.
porn. Yeah.
I have your brain is super smart. And so part of what it will do is it goes like, well, how do we get there? Well, we can't jump the chasm, but we can take one step at a time.
Yeah.
We can build this bridge one brick at a time. And the bridge building for me was always some sort of benign scrolling, searching. It was a passive place that I would get into. And then what do you know? Because I'm like waiting for something interesting to happen in the scrolling, which even scrolling on your phone, scrolling on your TV,
Hmm.
it's the same thing as a slot machine. You're just like,
Yeah.
is it? Well, I see here. And then I see something slightly suggestive and something in me goes ding, 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 ding. And I go like, well, it's not porn. So I'm just going to look at that real
Yeah.
quick and then move on. But it begins to pick up. You had described it to me one time as building courage in the wrong
Yeah.
direction.
It's true.
Like a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more to the point of acting out where I go like, I've watched the thing, I've intentionally done that. Or for me, a lot of times, the moment I saw actual nudity, I could get almost nudity, but not quite. But the moment that I like, which is so many just random
Yeah.
arbitrary lines, I'm like, oh no. Then here's what that's the acting out phase or whatever it is. Maybe it's a binge. I know guys who've like got carpal tunnel from 8 hours of this. Uh,
So it was so horrible.
it's such a it is a bummer. This is the power of this. Then you get into the despair, which can be interesting, especially for Christians, because
Yeah.
you get into some sort of despair, like a hopelessness feeling. This has happened again. I swore I would not. How did I get here? And then sometimes you get into this resolution phase where you're like, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm throwing it out. Like,
Yeah.
you take the computer, throw it out
Yeah.
on the street. This is where the alcoholics is starting to throw away all their
Yes.
alcohol and stuff. And in this despair slash resolution phase, that's it. I'm resolved to not do this anymore without actually fixing all the other things
Yeah.
that are going on. So in that despair place, that's where, especially for me, the shame would just so weigh me down. And the goal of my shame was to go, uh, if we can feel this bad, if we can feel even worse,
Right.
we'll never do it again.
Yeah.
You know how bad you feel right now? You don't want to look at porn right now.
Yeah.
Never again. The only problem is that never works. In fact, that's why
It
I
doesn't.
could relapse after relapsing. Some guys will, and this was true for me, I would probably be like the next day, I couldn't even handle the amount of shame. I had to get rid of that shame somehow. Well, I know something that makes me stop thinking about it. But
Yes.
even if it successfully stops you in those next, for a couple weeks, the cycle always begins again unless we figure out a way to interrupt the
Yeah.
cycle.
Yeah. The problem with shame is you have to medicate it.
Hmm.
And so shame, this idea that I am something wrong,
Mm-hmm.
the self-loathing,
Yeah.
the beating up yourself, you don't feel like a confident, capable, um, whole healthy man. And
Yeah.
so you're walking around in this world that sucks,
Yeah.
that you hate,
Mm.
that you don't like, that you don't respect. And eventually you go back to the place of like, my life sucks.
Mhm.
I'm not going anywhere. My wife doesn't love me.
Mhm.
I can't really open up to anybody. Those are all maybe even thoughts that you're not conscious of.
Right.
And then you get lonely, you get isolated, and here starts the hunt again, right?
Yep.
Is like,
Yeah.
oh, I said I wasn't going to do it. Like my life's not going anywhere. And boom, you get triggered,
Yep.
which triggered could be anything from you see a woman walk by.
Mhm.
Trigger can be
Your wife makes a comment, like, "Hey, I could use a little more help with the dishes," and you go,
yeah,
"Out of everything that I do
yeah,
for you, I bring home
totally,
the bacon," whatever.
totally. Trigger could be a long, really long weekend
Mhm.
where I don't get any rest and I'm just you
Trigger
know,
could be sitting, there's nothing to do on a Saturday afternoon,
yeah,
and I've suddenly in this space of purposelessness and like, "Ugh, this is
boredom, yeah,
awful." Yeah. It
yeah,
could be, I just got a promotion at work. It could sometimes our
yeah,
triggers can be these things
yeah.
where
It's wild, huh?
it's nuts, it can totally span the chasm of anything you can imagine, even success sometimes, especially depending on what your childhood
Yep,
story was, could say, "You're about to lose that thing."
yeah,
You get something you like, you're about to lose it, so let's make sure that we don't, and which leads to sabotage, so triggers are not only gonna be the obviously negative, it could be just about anything.
yeah,
It's just important to know what yours
yeah.
are.
It's real. Yeah, and I really do think that that's important is to start to understand like what part of the cycle am I in?
Yeah.
Am I in a cycle for starters? And then what part of the cycle that am I in? Because if you start to get really self-aware, then of course the quicker you can catch it, the better.
Yep.
So, oh, right now I feel really alone.
Mhm.
Or man, I've had a really, really, really long weekend.
Mhm.
I probably need to rest a little bit or
Yeah.
set up some fun somewhere
Mhm.
down the way. Somehow I need to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And you have to build this internal awareness of
Mhm.
of what's going on inside of you,
Yep.
and which is part of the way out. We're going to go
Yeah.
into the way out, but I think the the whole thing is to begin to understand like, okay, I right now I'm on the hunt.
Mhm.
You know you're on the hunt because you feel a sense of excitement that you don't normally feel,
Right, yeah.
and, almost like an anxiety,
Mhm. This
anticipation.
kind of frantic
Y
feeling.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it could be like, I'm gonna go get something to I'm gonna go get something to drink," and then you end up buying Jack Daniels
Mhm.
with I'm just gonna have a little bit of Coke, and if my friend comes down the road, comes over, I wanna make sure I have some alcohol for
Sure,
him,
yeah.
and
Lots
then
of rationalizations that
yeah,
take place in there.
yeah, justification. Hey, I'm gonna look at Instagram, and I'm gonna message some friends.
Mhm.
Before you know it, you're looking at like, oh, I really like that outfit that she's wearing. I wonder where she bought it from,
Mhm.
and that rolls onto,
Yeah.
and eventually you're looking at something that you know where you were going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A lot of justification, a lot of rationalization, a lot of if my best friend walked up, if my wife saw me doing this right now,
Mhm.
I would feel nervous.
Mhm.
Okay, that's the hunt.
Right.
And if you can begin to recognize the hunt,
Mhm.
then you start to go back to like we're going to talk about how to get out of this. But to me, the first step is self-awareness, is
Mm.
being aware,
Yeah.
is to really understand what's going on inside of you. Self-awareness is the key because self-awareness gives you the ability to know what's going on inside of you. And I can't express how incredibly important this is because I think we talked about it before. I've talked about it on the podcast, but your brain likes to um likes to be able to function without thinking about it. It
Mhm.
loves to make everything automated.
Yeah.
And so all the cycle, everything that you're going through is unconscious.
Mhm.
You've done it so many times. This is just like jumping in the car and driving.
It's autopilot.
Yeah, nobody has to tell me anymore like shift now,
Yep.
brake now, turn this far.
Mhm.
Like I'm literally teaching my kids. I had Evan or Liam in the front seat the
Mm.
other day. He's 3. And when he's in his little Jeep,
Oh, yeah.
he can drive it no problem now.
Mhm.
He can back it up and turn the right
Nice.
way. Yeah,
Wow.
he's awesome. And he can drive it. When I put him in my truck, what's interesting is in my truck, he can't do it on his own.
Mhm.
It's not automated for him.
Yeah.
So everything's so new. There's
Mhm.
so many, like he can't even steer without. like, and pay attention.
Right, yeah.
Everything's new and novel, and so I have to get his brain back to like, "Hey, dude. Hey, 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 we're going towards this thing." Okay, cool. So what happens for us is we're so used to doing this thing that I don't realize I'm in it.
Yeah.
So I have to somehow remind myself that I'm alive and breathing and heading down the highway of hell
Yeah.
without recognizing it.
Right.
I set an alarm on my phone for a long time
Mhm.
to break bad habits.
Mhm.
So self-awareness is a skill set. It's something that you can grow.
Yeah.
And you can go from being unaware to self-aware. What self-awareness is not, it's not introspection. So I'm not actually asking myself what's wrong with me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a deep, dark
That's a
hole that
of
has no
shame.
answers.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going, how am I doing?
Mhm.
What's going on?
Mhm.
What do I need? Where am I at?
Yeah.
Right. So I set an alarm, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Mhm.
That's how I learned self-awareness. I
Wow.
literally did.
Mhm.
And I would change the times. So
Yeah, that's
7:39,
important. You don't want that to
7:22,
become background noise.
12:01, 12:31. I would go for a while at 7:32,
Mm.
12:01. So in the morning, I would say, "Good morning. Um, how are you doing?"
Yeah.
So I'm just checking in.
Mhm.
At lunch, it would say, "How's it going? Is there anything in my life that I need to check?"
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Did I have a conversation that triggered me and I'm not aware of it?
Yep.
Am I dreading going home? Am I afraid of my finances?
Mhm.
And then at night, I could literally just say like, how did it go?
Mhm.
How was the day? Is there anything left over?
Yeah.
My wife and I get in an argument and I'm still battling her in my mind.
Mhm.
Like that is a gateway.
Right.
If you're stuck in addiction, that's a gateway back to hell.
Absolutely.
So I have some things that I have to reconcile. So that self-awareness is the first key to you can stop the cycle anywhere you want. You could stop it right before you look at the actual
Yeah.
nudity and go, "Oh, frick, look what I'm about to do."
Yeah.
Or you could stop it at, "I'm opening up Netflix right now. What's really going on inside of
Yeah.
me?" Or you could stop it at like, "I'm really hungry and I think I might go get that Big Mac. Oh, wait.
This is
I'm
part of my
yeah,
ritual.
I'm not doing this anymore,
Yeah.
but gosh, I really want it."
Mhm.
Okay, is there anything that you need to add to that?
I would, so I did a version of that, but I use other people. I'm an external processor, so
Yeah,
in order to understand what's happening in me, I need to get it outside of
that's
me.
great.
Journaling was one way,
Yeah,
but I would just do a check in with my guys. What am I feeling right now? This is where connection codes came in clutch, and being able
yep,
to recognize the 8 core emotions. A super simple way of just going, okay, I felt fear. It was low level fear, but it was about this thing. Okay, and then I felt this, I felt this. So I'm just starting to recognize emotional things that pop up. I externalize it to another person because one of the practices too was getting out of isolation. Like I'm trying to do this all on my own
yeah,
because I don't want anyone to know that I'm in this place or whatever.
yeah,
So using other people was really helpful for me. This little phrase, or it's not a phrase, it's just a word. Interesting. It's my way to pique my curiosity. I want to start to every time that I something happens in me that once I go, oh, something is
yep,
happening. I like to ask like, oh, interesting. I wonder what's going on there. Or like, man, I'm pissed right now,
yep,
or I really want to just scroll mindlessly. Oh, interesting. I wonder what's
yep,
happening. And just getting curious about what's going on in my everyday life in the moment was good practice for me to begin to actually have answers so I
yep,
could go, oh, I don't actually want to scroll. I just want to not feel sad. And I felt sad because that needs attention. Let's go figure out how to get that need met there.
yeah, it's great.
Mm.
Ultimately, um, whatever you do, growing and strengthening your self-awareness muscle is a massive, massive key.
Yep.
And I love pulling the community and the friends into it. I mean, ultimately, if you can create a new habit
Hmm.
around becoming aware
Yep.
and ultimately getting your needs met,
Yep.
but creating a new habit around becoming aware, that brings the power back to you because
Yep.
now I know that something's happening in me. I have the ability and I'm looking at it constantly.
Yep.
I'm teaching one of my sons how to manage his life right now in this
Mm.
season. And so the very first thing that we did was we had him use a calendar.
Oh, yeah.
because you can't really manage your life. You can manage this tiny little life
Mhm.
without a calendar, but you can't really manage your life without a schedule and a calendar, not in today's world.
Yeah.
And so but I had to help him uh, learn when to look at his calendar.
Hmm.
And so we set his whole calendar up, and that's great. But
If you never look at
if you
that.
never look at it,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, right?
Mhm.
So he's setting alarms that remind him, okay, after I do this, I sit down and I go work out, I go take a shower. After my shower, I open and get dressed. I now open up my calendar
Mhm.
and I'm looking at what is my day.
Yeah.
And again, it's that eventually I won't have to remind him to look at his calendar. I don't
Totally.
have to think about my calendar. I've realized my calendar is my life.
Mhm.
This is what I do. That's what you're trying to create. Like you're going from this automated world and where I just do this life to like, I'm going to get really consistent and really intentional
Yeah.
and really the buzzword is present and go like, okay, I have from breakfast to noon. And at noon, I'm checking back in with myself.
Mhm.
And at why this is really powerful, I know we've talked about it a bit, but I remember getting up on stage to preach.
Mhm.
And when I was first learning self awareness,
Okay.
I, before I learned self awareness, I would get up on stage and preach a lot. And I would say a lot of stupid things in the very beginning. And I don't know if you've had this experience before, but when I get nervous, I want to tell another story.
Right.
I want to try to tell a joke that I don't
You
really
start
know.
deviating way off.
Yeah, and before you know it, I'm like, "Oh," or I start the message, but I haven't really thought through, like, where do I want the message to go?
Right. Yeah.
Simply because I feel insecure, I
Mhm.
feel nervous, I feel unaware. And so what I started to do was to remind myself before I get up on stage that you're nervous.
Mhm.
That's
Just
okay.
naming it out loud.
I'm nervous, that's okay.
Mhm.
This doesn't feel normal for me.
Yeah.
This feels really abnormal. Then I started to think through like, what do I need in order to do good here?
Mhm.
I realized if I had an intentional story that I wanted to tell that tied into my subject, all of a sudden I have the thing that I need that helps me calm down that also builds my message. That's what I had to do my life well.
That's good.
We have a whole bunch of areas in our life that if you realize that you were afraid when you came home because conversations with your wife get tough, man, it's so much better to know that consciously
Yep.
than to be like, I'm either just avoiding my wife or she says, hey, can you help me unload the dishes? And you go like, I've already done 5 things today.
Mhm.
And you don't realize like it actually has nothing to do with her. It has
Yeah.
everything to do with what's going on inside of you.
That's
So that self-awareness, I know you've like, gosh, you've kicked this dead horse. It's key.
Yeah.
If you don't have a plan, a very detailed plan for how you're growing, becoming aware, there's no possible way that you could walk out and reshape, rechange, recut new grooves into your brain and create a new habit and new pathways
Mhm.
without becoming aware.
Yep.
It's impossible.
Yep.
You can't do it. There's no amount of willpower that will get you to the goal that you want to. Here's what will happen. You will constantly be trying to fix things in hindsight.
Mhm.
Oh, damn, if I would have just done this thing.
Mhm.
You live your life reactively
Yep.
instead of proactively,
Yep.
and you constantly add shame into your life because you can't ever figure it out, and you think something's wrong with you. You go like, God dang, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with you is you've lived your whole life in autopilot,
Mhm.
and you have never learned how to become self-aware.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's good.
what breaks the cycle? That's what we're talking about.
Mhm.
Ultimately, it starts with awareness.
Yep. Absolutely.
Step 2 for you?
Step two for me is understanding what I need. When I discover, I go, oh, this is what's happening inside of me right now. I feel this, and it was probably the result of this. Some of the self awareness involves understanding my story from the past and why this is such a big deal
Yep,
for me. So that's definitely part of it. But it would be going, what do I do with the things that I feel
yeah,
now? And I know we've recorded a couple podcasts on like
yeah,
what is it, mastering your emotions and different things like that.
yeah,
So what do I actually need when I feel sad? What do I actually need when I feel powerless.
Yeah.
So recognizing what comes after that.
I'm going to go into needs on another episode. I
It's
think
great.
Thursday I'm going to drop that episode.
That's great.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. If you can become aware of it. I've had guys just practice the awareness part for a while, because if I go like start getting aware by doing X, Y, Z, and then start meeting all those needs, they get overwhelmed. So I go
Absolutely.
for 2 weeks. And it takes longer than this sometimes, but
Yeah.
for 2 weeks, all I want you to do is text one person a day and go, here's the things that I felt today off of this list and where that came from. It's because of this or that. So they're just practicing actually checking in, and we call that inventory. I'm
Yeah.
taking inventory.
Yep.
So after they do that, then we get curious to go like, why is that? Why does that feel so big for me? And then I start to meet those needs. So
It's great.
that's where we actually break the cycle. So I get triggered, and even though that feels like what I normally do with that is I go make myself feel better. Now we don't actually want you to stop feeling better.
Yeah.
We just want you to use something that is sustainable. It will not spike you to the same level,
Totally.
but it'll get you up to that like that's good. And the beautiful thing about getting your needs met in a healthy way is that you don't drop below baseline afterward.
Yeah, it's true.
It's actually a sustainable, I would go so far as to call it a high,
Yeah.
but it's really fulfillment. Like it's sustainable.
Which is part of the problem when you masturbate, when you look at porn, when you do those things is you drop way below normal
Yeah.
and you have these big crashes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, again, you're going to consume something that is so much more sustainable
Yeah.
than the um like super high stimulus or
That's right.
whatever. From there, so it's learn your triggers, name the pain, track the pattern, um, jump into some connection,
Yeah.
get known. Like
Mm-hmm.
to me, that's the next piece is
Yeah.
like, I, I had, I am having all this emotion, I'm having all this experience, or I'm on my way, I'm hunting, and now I have to like stop this train and take ownership of it
Mm-hmm.
and get connected and go,
Yeah.
hey, want to go do something fun? Or, hey, I'm not doing good right now. Or, hey, I'm feeling X, Y, or Z.
Mm-hmm.
And to build some of that, to get in a rhythm and a habit of building connection in your
That's
life.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always pointing guys towards connection. So I have that online small group that's starting up at the end of
It's
August.
great.
It's meant for that thing. So what we'll do is guys will join. It'll be a small group of about 6 guys, sharing once a week. We get on a Zoom call, but in between you'll be watching videos that talk about these very things. So
Yep.
you can begin to go, what does my ritual look like?
Yep.
You have to write it out and then share it with people, because once you say it out loud, it takes away this like,
It's true.
ethereal mystery behind
Yeah.
it. Like my goal by the end of this 12 weeks, in these online small groups is that a guy will never again say, I don't know how I got here. He may still get there, but to act out. But I want him to go, I know exactly how I got there.
Mm.
One, because I've written this out. I have looked. I've done the like, oh, what's going on there? But then I've talked about it with other guys. I've heard their stories, which is super helpful for
Yeah.
me to go, oh, I resonate with that. I get that.
Yes.
And so we walk through understanding that, but then going through what are
Yeah.
these needs that need to be met? How do we work on getting those met in a sustainable way?
Yeah. And ultimately, part of what you want to do is you want to build a new ecosystem, right? So
Yeah,
that's
that's it.
ultimately what we're doing is you're going to get really good at building daily rhythms, at understanding your story,
Hmm.
at building deep connections and friendships that are meaningful, at having a large target in your life, this massive goal that you're aiming at that helps to add a bunch of purpose and value in
Right.
your life and build up a bunch of self-respect. And
Mhm.
so you're living inside of this ecosystem that doesn't need a lot of medication.
Doesn't need it.
Right. So I've
Yeah.
rid the pain of my life. I've got some purpose. I still have some pressure and I still
Mhm.
have hard things that I'm going after because, well, everybody should
Yeah.
until the day that they die.
Hmm.
And I have a friend group that really meets my needs.
Yeah.
I have some adventure. I've got some goals. Like that's the life that we're all trying to create. We're
That's right.
all trying to create a really, really healthy ecosystem and rid out the things of our life that aren't serving us.
That's right.
And so for us, this part 2 is like the my goal for you guys is that you would begin to understand your cycle. So maybe take a piece of paper out and rewind back to understanding the different places, the different steps of the cycle, and begin to pay attention to those. Look at it, understand it, study it, so that you can go like, oh, this is where I'm at. Get your phone out and set an alarm, 7:02 a.m., 12:31 p.m., and whatever, 7:45 p.m. And those, good morning, how are you? At lunch, how's it going? At dinner before bed, how did it go? Right? And you're getting into this rhythm of really going, hey, there are moments in my day that I need to be really, really aware of. And I want to know that I'm hungry. I don't just want to find myself hungry somewhere. I want to map out my life. I don't want to get caught off guard in my life. Is there things that happen that I need to reconcile? And if you get really used to doing that, then you start to have conversations with your friends or have conversations with your wife or your husband to be able to go like, hey, I'm noticing I've got a bunch of anger in my life that keeps popping up. Great. You need a plan for that. Hey, I'm noticing that I've got some resentment. Great. What's my plan for resentment? Hey, I'm noticing that at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, like it's when I tend to go on the hunt for food, or I get really bored or I get overwhelmed and I go over it. Great. Now you can start to make some really simple plans for these places that you're really tempted to act out. And so, guys, if you take this seriously and you begin to really map out your life, don't try to do this from memory. Actually just take 10 minutes today and set up your alarms. Um, Begin to map out, on your computer, on your phone, what is my cycle, and then get really good at paying attention to what's happening throughout your day. What are the things that you need to plan for, that you actually have to solve for? What are the things that you need to be proactive in so that you rid the pain out of your life and start to create a healthy cycle? So BraveCo men, have an incredible week. Stay brave this week.
Hey, BraveCo men. Hopefully you loved this week's episode. Listen, if you have not subscribed to our podcast, you are already behind. Go ahead and click right here to subscribe to our podcast. And if you have not watched last week's episode, you can click right here and watch last week's episode. And listen, if you want to upgrade your wardrobe, you can check out some of our new hats that we have in stock and all our other swag. Go to braveco.org and you can look at our store there. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.